Welcome everyone to the Merch Minds podcast, episode 142. Every episode I say this is a special episode, but this one is indeed special because I have my dad, the one and only Mr. Ken Reil. How are you?
It's good to be here. Doing great.
Yeah.
Long time no see, right?
you know what's funny is I was just gonna say that. But yeah, we had the opportunity to hang out, and we had a really good time a few weeks ago. We were at DesignerCon, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But you getting ready for the holidays?
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah.
I got the lights up. The wife is cracking the whip and telling us, me and my son, to get the lights up outside and the wreath up and Christmas trees up and presents are being wrapped. So yeah, we're well underway.
Good stuff, man. How was Thanksgiving?
It was good. It went really well. I had my brother up from LA and his family and smoked a couple of turkeys, and our oven was out, so it ended up I was happy I had 2 pellet grills outside that were going full-term duty, and
nice.
it was a good time.
So here's the thing, man. I don't think there's no reason for a paternity test, because here's the thing. I think you and I both love barbecue. We're always exchanging photos of the meat that we're grilling and smoking. So absolutely, man. It's like father like son.
Yeah, we got to get over to each other's homes here and taste each other's barbecue.
I'm gonna tell you this right now, man. I make a mean Korean short ribs.
Oh, hey, that's something I would go for that.
Yeah, man.
Anything on my grill comes off good. I've got this thing going pretty good now.
Okay, all right.
Now I'm getting into bacon and stuff like that, homemade bacon. So.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, homemade bacon, homemade sausage. It was a lot of fun.
Okay. No, that's just too much work for me. I just like to marinate and then just go straight to the grill.
That fits. That works.
Cool, man. But we got some new things since we last saw each other. We got the new dashboard on merch, man. That's really cool, huh? Very modern and sleek.
It's coming. I've been talking to staff over at merch, and he's been updating me a little bit ahead of time. So he's tipping me off, a week in advance, some of the stuff coming on. And so it's fun to watch, because I know that the first change is the dashboard. That's like the initial change. That's just the tip of the iceberg here. They're changing.
Is that right?
Yeah, they're changing from the old archaic dashboard, even though we don't see much of a difference other than some cosmetic stuff.
Sure.
This is a whole new dashboard they're releasing, and they're going to go through every tab. And you're going to see changes to the analytics and changes to the manage and changes to create. I mean, this is just the start. So rolling out little things, like he told me a week ago, hey, you're going to be rolling out the Germany tab. You're going to be able to pull the tab down and select German. So the German-speaking people can just use their dashboard in German. And,
nice.
That'll lead to other languages. So some of these things seem like small things, but I look at it right now. We're in the middle of Q4.
Yeah.
And what does merch typically do in Q4? They break something, right?
Sure.
And they haven't broken anything right now. So
nothing yet. I mean,
the
only complaint that I have right now is, and we talked about this a few weeks ago, is the whole uploading issue right now. I'm getting rejected left and right.
Yeah.
It's frustrating, but you know what? I think you had mentioned something about their new API with the USPTO, which is kind of triggering that. So,
Yeah, I talked to them about it. They're aware of it. I mean, the first day where everything blew up, I messaged McGill and I said, oh, you know what's going on with the trademark? Like, everything is getting rejected. This is just crazy. And he says, yeah, we realize that's going on and we kind of overstepped, So they kind of went too far. Now, people have to understand that they have to put some automation into this.
Sure.
You can't, their staff is physically not big enough to be looking at every design. Every time a flag comes up, they can't be having people looking at 10, 20, 30,000 listings a day. And they're expanding the program. So they're expanding the number of users. Everybody's tier count goes up. Every new products are being added. So you know what? It's a bit of a hassle, but as they said, they're integrating automation into the function. And you know how Amazon works. Their algorithms and their functions and their programs all have to learn and be trained, and it'll get better. I mean, there'll be things that get flagged, stupid things that are driving us nuts, like, I don't know, school or red, Why is my shirt being rejected for the word red? Well, you know
Hmm.
what? Yeah, it's a pain in the ass right now, but it'll correct itself over time.
Yeah, my only concern is my account going to be in jeopardy, and I'm sure this is something that they're considering. As long as we're not doing anything infringing and on purpose, uh, we should be
But
okay.
when was the last time, and I keep telling people to ask themselves these kinds of questions, when's the last time you heard somebody being terminated for these, quote, bland, frivolous trademark things?
True.
No, I'm just saying, who do you know of?
No one.
People that get terminated, the only ones I know, maybe somebody that's tier 10, tier 100, and just isn't clicking in here. And I will be the first to say, if you're new to the program, new to the platform, and you're really low tier, it's not an advantage, some of us that have been around longer, but you are on a different level playing field here. They are looking at all 10 of your designs and all 100. I mean, come on, you have to be able to look at your 10 or 100 designs and say, oh, this might trigger a flag, right? But when you're tier 20,000 or tier 10,000, you just did 500 uploads and 300 of them got rejected, like Young's did. Uh, I, I mean, you're not sitting there saying, or you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be saying, "Oh my gosh, tomorrow I'm going to wake up and my account's gone."
Hmm.
You wake up and your account's gone tomorrow is because you were skirting the system, or we saw it recently, people playing around with automation, which set off some flags on people's accounts, got some people terminated. Now, some of them got their accounts back because, that's kind of a gray area. But anything where you stress out the merch system or the merch platform and trigger warning flags is when you're going to have a real look at your account.
Sure.
And so
Sure.
that's why I keep telling people, when's the last time you know of a close friend that actually got terminated?
Yeah.
Or when's the last time you know of somebody that was using the word red or school or dog or beers and they got all these rejections that get terminated? It just, I haven't seen it.
It doesn't happen. Okay. Well, that actually makes me feel much better. Uh, whew, I can breathe a little bit, man. I can do some yoga here.
But
But
that doesn't mean you repetitively create those problems, right? You
mhm.
learn from the 200 or 300 that was going on. Maybe I got to take a look at this or that. As much as it's a pain for you to do, you
Yeah.
kind of change your focus. There's some people that may just plow ahead and said, "Who cares?
Right.
Just
And
get my
you
butter,
do
go
you
and
do
go."
learn, because one of the habits that one of my bad habits, I should say, was when a design falls off, I would just automatically re-upload it, and
Without checking.
without rechecking the trademark, because you never know, right? So now I got into the habit of rechecking the trademark, even though it's been approved in the past. So, and it is frustrating. It's tedious, but it comes with the job, right? Like any other
Yeah.
job. And but it's not hard. It's not hard. I just have to get into the habit of, again, just getting used to checking trademark. If there's one advice that I can, not advice, but if there's one thing that I can have you tell Amazon, whenever they do make these updates, it'll be nice for, like, if I upload something, you know how something gets stuck in processing.
Hmm.
When I see it, I'm like, oh gosh darn it, I see something that I shouldn't have done. It'll be nice to retract that.
Yeah. You
Just
mean the manual review thing?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because if it's in processing, it's already past the human eyes, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying it'll be nice to have that option. If there's some way, somehow.
See, here,
Uh,
I'll throw something at you though on that. And
okay.
this is the same scenario where people say, I want a health meter like Seller Central.
Mm,
Like their little gauge that says, oh, you're tripping into the yellow, you're tripping, and they back off and they go to the green and they say, why can't we have the same kind of a meter with merch? Well, I'm not sure that it ever come because people are really, this is a game of designs and there are people that'll push the limits, and the same thing with manual review. People are pushing the limits to see how far they can go before it triggers manual review, and sometimes when they trip that, it goes to manual review, and I'm using some of the bad actors. That's the opportunity now for the flag to come up, and merch, when it's manual review, a set of eyes looks at it, and if you tripped it too far or tripped it too many times, it gives them an opportunity to look at bad actors without the ability to say, oh, I tripped the manual review,
I got you.
delete, right? And so
Okay.
nobody sees it. And so there's two sides to that story. And I would love both of those scenarios. I would love a meter and I would love to see Oh, manual review. Oh, I screwed up one word, in the old days, T-shirt instead of T-shit, right? And just hit delete and bring it back. But people need to stop worrying too much about that. Like, oh no, I've got 100 designs this weekend that are manual review. I'm not going to sleep till Monday.
Hmm.
Why? I mean, it's just part of the system, and
Yeah,
just
well,
roll with it.
you know me, man. I just stress out about stuff like that, but getting that reassurance from you does make me feel much better. So I'm definitely gonna get some good sleep tonight. That's for
Well,
sure.
and see, you know me. I mean, I'm as much an ardent fighter against these stupid trademarks as anybody.
Hmm.
That's the whole reason for Watchdogs, and I don't pin this on Amazon. I pin this on the USPTO and their broken system. And
Hmm.
so when we're getting all these rejections, or we see Amazon put in an automated system to check these, and we say, well, why are they checking every little word? Well, Amazon's not going to put themselves in a position where they're legally going to be challenged by somebody on this. It's not their place to be. They're not the mediator. They're not the ref. We need to change the industry and change the USPTO so that Amazon is able to back and say, oh, well, the community is doing this. USPTO made these changes, and then all of a sudden they will change some things. But until then, they have to put safeguards in place. And like I keep saying, we just have to keep holding on to the train handle. We're going to hit some
Yeah,
bumps on the train, and hang
yeah,
on and stop complaining, and be glad for the sales that you are getting, for not having to put capital
absolutely.
into printers.
No, I am forever grateful, and we have to understand that Merch by Amazon, I mean, this is what, 4 or 5 years in now, and it's still such a new platform. Remember, I was
Hmm.
telling you, I have a friend who's a marketing executive in Seattle at the Spear,
Yeah.
right? And I told you this. I was
Yeah.
chatting with her, and I was like, yeah, I'm doing merch by Amazon. She had no clue what I was
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, this is an Amazon person. She had no clue. She's like, huh? What is that? And I had to explain to her what I was doing.
It brings up an interesting point, because there was a conversation going on in one of the groups about, somebody had commented and said, hey, if Amazon would actually give 2-day shipping instead of 6 to 9-day shipping, we could all have 25% more sales. And I'm saying, in the holidays, yeah, you can have 2-day shipping. Like, they do 2-day shipping now. It's the printing that takes the time, right?
Hmm.
But if you want an order to be processed at Christmas right now and be on somebody's doorstep in 2 days, you understand how much capital would have to be there just for Christmas? How many printers would have to be put online just so we could be happy for Christmas and not have, I don't know, what is today, the 11th? And I think they're showing that the 19th to about the 21st when shirts will be delivered. It only takes 2 days to ship them, but right now there's probably a 6, 7, 8-day backlog on orders to be printed. Well, do you put in the machines right now so that you have a Instaprint type thing? Well, what do you do with the capacity the rest of the year, right? And these are things that, as the platform grows, they're just bumps that go along. And it's interesting to look at, because what you're talking about in that thread, they made a post. They kind of came back, and I made that argument, and they said, well, I'm sure Bezos isn't happy with this. It's got to be 2-day Prime. I'm sure he's going to be knocking some heads. And I wanted to say, I bet Bezos barely even knows merch exists.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's the reality of it. I just watched a thing on Amazon AWS about how that cloud servicing and the web services is growing and how big it is.
Hmm.
And we're talking hundreds of billions of dollars. I mean, and their growth is by hundreds of billions a year. I mean, yeah, we're going to grow by 40% next year. The numbers are awe-inspiring for dollars. And you're looking at this little T-shirt guy that's divisioned in Amazon, thinking that this is a bigwig sitting at the table with all the big dogs. No, it's they're sitting in the seats watching the big dogs, and they're growing. But compared to the rest of the print-on-demand industry, it's amazing what merch has accomplished.
Hmm.
I was talking to Miguel just a couple of weeks ago, and I was saying, yeah, it's great what's been accomplished with like 6 products. And he goes, no, there's 9 products. And I'm proud of those 9 products. And you compare it to other platforms, you say, wow, yeah, they've only got nine products. And I bet their numbers are blowing the numbers of a lot of these other platforms out of the water right
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
now. Not even a comparison. So,
Absolutely. So let's talk about DesignerCon. We had the opportunity to go. Wasn't that fun?
yeah, that was a good time.
That was
I'd
that was
definitely be there next year.
Absolutely, and you and I did it the right way because
Yeah.
we paid the little extra to go on Friday night, which
Oh,
was
don't
the
tell people. Don't tell people that.
oh, okay. Well, we did it the right way
Yeah.
because when I went Saturday, it was a freaking zoo. It was a
Yeah.
madhouse, man. It was so you and I did it the right way, and yeah, it was because man, in fact, Saturday when I went with Manny, my friend Manny, and I'm sure, and I had to ask you if you remember Manny, and you weren't too
Hmm.
sure, um, but he remembers you, and I'm sure if you see him, you'll know who he is. When we went Saturday, it was so packed. There were some of the designers that we talked to on Friday that we couldn't even get access to because they were just busy taking care of customers and
And selling stuff
yeah,
and just
it
going
was
crazy.
just
Yeah.
freaking busy. But it was fun and it was inspirational. And like you said, I definitely want to attend next year. And in fact, I know Manny was talking about maybe getting a booth next year. So
Did you learn the 3 hours we were together?
I absolutely did, and I want to talk about that too because I had the opportunity to watch you and learn approaching independent artists about licensing agreements,
Yeah.
right? Because I've never done it. So Ken's like, watch me, and I watched him approach a couple of people, and he talked to them about the opportunity to get their products and designs on Amazon, and gosh, man, it's like a majority of them are like, you know, what's what Amazon print on
9 out of
demand?
10. How many people knew about Merch by Amazon? I think
There,
one guy, right? The one
there,
guy.
there was that one guy, and he sounded pretty pissed off when we first started talking about it. But then when she started to talk to him about the whole licensing thing, it seemed like he was very, very interested. He even mentioned at one point Neo and Merch Informer,
Yeah.
so he was very well aware of Amazon and merch and all that. But yeah,
But
like you
very
said,
typical to some of these designers, and he was very typical to, hey, I've got this art, I found Merch by Amazon, I'll throw all my stuff up, I throw it up on Society6, I throw it up on Threadless, on TeePublic, on Redbubble, and then you talk to him about Merch by Amazon, he says, I no sales on merch, it's just rotten. And then you start diving into like keywords and what your brand is and what your niches are. He's got no clue. He just put them up and put them up under his name and hope for
hmm
sales, right?
yeah, and his stuff
And
was
that's
really good.
it was really good stuff.
Yeah,
Now, have
absolutely.
you followed up on any of the people that you said you were taking?
You know what? I haven't, but that's only because I've been really busy at the day job. But
All right.
trust me, you know what? Now that I'm talking to you, this is a good reminder to reach out to them.
You're in the 3 to 4 week hot zone right now.
I
You
know
need to get the contact rolling, even if it's an email to follow up.
exactly because we did make some contact with a few guys. They were very interested, um, and
Yeah, I've got some good discussions already rolling with the ones I walked away with. So
mhm, absolutely. And but yeah, it was really good to watch you in action and explain the whole process. And that's the thing. It's trying to explain to them exactly how it works because again, like you said, the majority of them they don't understand. Remember that one person that I approached on Friday? He was the one that drew the Obamas on
yeah,
so I went back the following day, and it was weird, Ken, because when I talked to him that Friday, he seemed very interested. Correct?
I would have put him on a scale of 50-50. He
Okay,
was less interested than I think you thought he was.
true. Okay, I'll say that.
And I just say it black and white. That's my
No,
observance
absolutely,
watching him.
absolutely. So when I went back on Saturday, he had me talk to. I'm assuming it was his girlfriend.
Yeah.
He had me talk to her, and oh my gosh, man! When I was talking to her and I was explaining the whole process to her, she had like a chip on her shoulder, man. She was really, I mean, she was just very cutthroat, just very mean. And do you work for Amazon and all this? And it's just, if you don't work for them, why are you even here? And I was just like, what the hell? Because again, they don't understand. And I'm trying to explain to her how everything works. And it was just like, you know what?
But see
The,
that you bring up a good point because this is something I've noticed dealing with independent artists, especially like what was on the floor at DesignerCon, and you see a lot of them even on the licensing expo. There's a mindset to licensing that some artists don't clue into, right? it's an all or nothing type of a scenario. And he was a good example of somebody that was, and of an all or nothing, right? And she was probably even more ardent, right? This is
Mhm.
our art. We're going to make our money on this. And, you know, do you want to buy our art or not? And the whole concept of licensing is lost to some of those people. The fact that they could expand their reach and expand their audience by allowing people to pay them a royalty for licensing their content is lost to them. They're
Mhm.
thinking that they're building an empire, not realizing that most of somebody like Disney's empire, they have an amazing brand, huge brand, Star Wars brand, and now it's very expensive to get licensing.
Mhm.
But the people they do license spread them to all the fingers of the world without them actually physically having to do the work. And this is a mindset that's tough to change on some independent artists. They've
Oh
got it in
yeah.
their head that this is their art and they need to make the money. And why would I ever give you a cut of something I drew?
Right.
Well,
Right.
here's the advantage. And you saw some of the people we talked to that, you know, that one guy, I'm not going to mention him, but there was one of the first guys we talked to that we bought some stickers from that it was like click, click, click. And I think his girlfriend or partner was like, oh yeah, yeah, we sell merchandise. Yeah, Amazon would be cool. What do you mean no inventory? What do you mean you know how to work the platform and do the keywords and get it in front of people and set up an AMS store and do all these things for them and pay them?
Yeah.
And by the way, while we're doing that, you can put the affiliate links in front of your Twitter people
Mhm.
and make the extra associates fee off of Amazon. These are things that some of these people that are open-minded will really start to click with and say, oh yeah, this is great. And the people I work with licensing, especially independent artists, not so much brands, but independent artists that get it, that realize, wait a minute, every quarter I'm going to get a check for shirts that I would have never have sold anyway.
Right.
Heck, sign me up, right? Let me send you more art to get up there. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. It was. But that was fun. That was fun. Again, and then there was one table you're like, all right, young, now it's your turn. Go get him. And sure enough, man, I went up there. I started talking to him. He was very interested. And again, it's really about just how you approach them and how you explain yourself. Again, I mean, um, that was always the hard part. And in the future, I'm sure a lot of people will say no, but at the same time, you just got to get that one or two who signs up, and then they'll keep providing the art.
yeah. In the beginning, I mean, I'm no expert on it, but I've learned some, and I'm not at the Disney stage or the Marvel stage of licensing, but I'm at the stage where I'm starting to say, hey, maybe I want to throw 20, 30, $50,000 on a guarantee and grab some of these bigger licenses.
Hmm.
It's to be learned. And in the beginning stages, yeah, 99 out of 100 tables you talk to or people you talk to or phones you picked up, you got a no answer. And I learned why I was getting no answers. I shared that some of that with you at DesignerCon, why people get a no answer.
Hmm.
But you learn from that. And now when I walk into that situation, especially these independent artists, very easy for me to start talking because it's
Yeah.
not me doing the talking. I'm looking for what they are selling. Tell me about your brand, right? And this was
Right.
something I learned very quickly at licensing expos. And the biggest mistake people make is they walk up to an artist or they walk up to a brand and they say, so tell me what I can do to, how do I license your stuff?
Yeah.
What do you mean, how do you license your, you're coming to them, you should already know how to license, right?
Sure.
And that's the
Yeah.
wrong, so it's better to ask them, so tell me about your brand. What are you trying to build here? And
Yeah.
then you're talking for the next half an hour. And when they're done talking, they say, hey, I've got a really good opportunity for you.
Hmm. Yeah. Because we
And
were
it
and
just,
and like you said, we struck up a few good conversations because we were there for like 3-4 hours.
yeah.
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 Um.
And by the end of 3 or 4 hours, you're physically exhausted from talking.
Hmm. Yeah. But it was good. But it was and one thing that I need to tell myself is next time I need to be more prepared. I gotta get business cards made. I mean, obviously you came with a whole stack of business cards to pass out to the people that are interested, and it's just, oh man, it was a blast. It was very inspirational. I do want to go back next year. Uh, And yeah, this is something that I want to continue doing. But
It's new too.
it's
Print
very
on
new.
demand is bringing a new concept to licensing, and you'll see this in some articles even recently.
Hmm.
Dr. Seuss, jumped on to Merch by Amazon, and you'll read some articles about Dr. Seuss just saying that we can't believe how much this has increased our merchandise sales.
Dr.
There's a
Seuss.
reason.
Yeah.
There's a reason Disney and Star Wars and Marvel are bang on with the merch platform. Look at their BSRs. I mean, you got BSRs in the hundreds and thousands, and we're talking multiple listings.
Hmm.
And they're not putting out tens of millions of dollars in inventory. This is the world of print on demand. So when you're licensing stuff, the scale really moves.
Hmm.
You saw some of the numbers. I'd start off and say, yeah, I'll do a 50-50 split with you. Well, in
Yeah.
traditional licensing, that would be looked at like, oh my gosh, that's how
Yeah.
are you going to make it work?
Yeah, and you also told me what to look out for as far as who to approach, because even though an independent artist might be there with a booth. So
Mm-hmm.
for instance, if an independent artist is there and all they're selling are T-shirts, and you try and approach
Yeah.
them, chances are they're going to be like, dude, talk to the hand, just keep walking.
His
I'm
whole
a,
booth is selling T-shirts at DesignerCon.
right,
Like,
and
are you
Ken, and,
really going to walk up to Johnny Cupcakes and say, can I license your stuff?
right,
No.
right. It's the artist that's selling like the stickers and prints, and they might have like maybe two or three shirts on display. Those are the people that you want to approach. If they're primarily selling T-shirts, Ken said, no, they're not the ones that you want to approach, because they're probably well established. They probably have a good printer, a good relationship with someone. So
It's like walking up to somebody on Merch or Etsy that's got a big store with a lot of tiers and saying, can I license your designs?
mm,
No, that's
yeah,
in
makes
real
sense.
versus finding true artists that are creating content and have a passion for their content that a lot of times don't know how to market that content.
Hmm.
That's truly what you're looking for. You're
Yeah,
not looking for the guy that is focused on marketing his content. And this is dealing with smaller, like independent artists, right? That's
yeah.
the trend. You get into the brands. I mean, the brands are just the power of their brand is the brand, and that they're sitting at the licensing expo because they're paying money to find you to go spread their brand. And the greatest thing I think I ever learned at the licensing expo was licensing is the one sales process where both of you are bullshitters. The licensee and the licensor are both bullshitting their way to the middle to find where they can meet in the middle that's acceptable for both of them, right? You're both selling yourself. It's
Hmm.
really a neat scenario where you are both salesmen. You're,
Well,
you're selling you're selling the ability to sell them, and they're selling the ability that their product will bring in sales.
Well, you're definitely the salesman, man. I saw you in action for myself, so it was something. Again, if you guys have an opportunity to go to these events, especially with Ken, man, I would say go do it, man, because that was I mean, that those 3-4 hours with you alone was well worth it. Um,
Well,
so
I'll be
let's,
the first one to say, don't think that you're going to get a group of 2 or 3 of you and go in a crowd walking around with Ken either.
yeah, yeah,
I
that's
think we
another
saw
thing.
that at the License Expo a year ago, where 40 people showed up at the expo and all wanted to kind of crowdsource walking around, talking to people. I'm like,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
the way
that's
to do
another
it.
thing. If you guys see me and Ken, you just
Just go the other way.
this is father and son time. Go do your own thing. So let me ask you, and again, some of these questions are stuff that I had asked you a few weeks ago. But again, for the
Yeah,
purpose of the show, I'm just asking: is merch saturated?
no,
Okay, tell us why.
it's just, okay, let me rephrase that. Depends what niche you're in, depends
Hmm.
what your game plan is, and depends how you're approaching merch. And I shared this with you as we were walking around. I said, there's no niche that if I wanted to go after it, I couldn't start getting sales on. And you get some naysayers that say, yeah, well, the organic is gone, or it's not like it was in the old days. Yeah, it's not like it was in the old days. Early days of merch in 2016, you could throw anything up and it would sell.
Hmm.
Didn't matter how bad it was because there was nothing else there. Well,
Hmm.
now there's a lot of stuff there, but most of the stuff is garbage.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff will never sell, and most of the stuff that I look at that people have put up is mediocre at best. and awful at worst. I mean, I kind of wish they would bring back the 90-day turnover thing where stuff just kept falling off,
Ah,
forcing people, because what that did was force people to say, I've got some really good content here, and if I put it back up, I know it'll sell. Versus some of them, they'll say, oh, my 1,000 shirts came down, I'm going to put my 1,000 up. And after 2 or 3 times of that, they start, oh, I'm getting bored of putting that up. And they walk away. Merch is getting to the point now that, yeah, some niches are really saturated. Would I go into the birthday shirt niche? No. It's just a waste of time. Can you make a lot of money on the birthday shirt niche? Yeah, you can, but you're also going to be swamped out by the next 10,000 birthday shirts that come
hmm
along, right? Or the
yeah,
next retro sunset with 1969 on it that's going to overtake what was already selling.
right,
That doesn't mean you can't make some sales on it, but the
yeah,
platform's changed. You may have to put some sales to it, like some AMS dollars, and that's kind of a sore spot because it's not open to everybody yet, which I hope it will be. I know they're working on it. But if you have a good design, good keywords, and maybe put some ads to get it in front of people's faces, everybody gets a chance. And the hard part is knowing what will and what won't sell.
hmm
I really talk up a guy like Jose Fernandez. I mean, he does this for a living. He knows what's a good design. He knows what's in the marketplace that will sell. I think he's got a distinct advantage over most of us because he comes home from work and says, I know what I can put up. I can't put Chihuahua on there, but I know how to sell this Halloween shirt.
yeah,
And
yeah,
he can instantly look at a design and say whether or not it has a chance. And I think I've pretty much figured that out too. I can do the 3-second rule and look at somebody's thing and say, oh yeah, either that goes into the pile of everything else and saturation, or oh yeah, if you put that on the front page, that's got a pretty good chance to catch on and start getting some sales.
hmm
So are we saturated right now? I don't know. It's apples to oranges. You can't compare two people's accounts and say they're the same.
sure. So
It's
then,
very hard.
so then my whole strategy's always been good in the sense that I'm putting up quality. Um, I'm assuming then it has to be my keywords then. It has to be my keywords.
Or
And I
it's
showed you. And oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
or it's the niches you're in,
hmm
right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, we talked about some of that. You talked about one of your designs to me, and I identified it as, well, who's the target audience, right? Who's the target, and how? What was the question I asked you about sales? I said, how many do you sell? And then I said, how many sell in that niche?
True. Yeah.
So here's a question for you, without saying what that niche is. How many sell in that niche, Young?
In that particular niche, I would say, well, that's hard to say. I don't know. Like for me, that particular design, I don't sell it every
So
day
why did you even go into the niche?
because I thought it would be a fun thing. It was something that I came up with. It was a concept that I came up with that no one else was doing.
Yeah,
Right. I mean, so in that particular niche, is it niche or niche?
it can be either.
I don't know what the hell it is. But in that particular niche, I mean, there's tons and tons of designs for that niche. But I came up with this concept that was really original, and I showed you it.
Yeah,
I
I
showed it to
know.
you, and I was like,
But
okay,
again, I asked the question: how many sales are in that niche?
oh, it's got to be thousands.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
What are you basing that
that
on?
that particular design,
What are you basing that thousands on?
that's just top of my head. I mean,
Okay,
obviously, I don't know for sure, but
a few.
because there's tons of designs out there in that particular niche, right?
Okay, so there's tons of designs out on that niche. So there's two questions. You need to know how many you're selling in the niche, and you need to know how many you're selling in that niche, and you need to know how many are being sold in that niche per design. Does that make sense?
No, it makes
There might
sense.
be 10,000 shirts that are selling. There's 10,000 sales, but everybody's only getting one or two.
hmm
They're not really honing in on some real winners in there. I mean, you have to identify what the winners are. And I'm the first one to say, don't go copy stuff. Don't go find the winning shirt and make a new unicorn riding a dinosaur crap. Like, come up with content that is original, because you're going to get your home runs on the next unicorn riding a T-Rex. right?
Yeah.
Come up with a concept that's totally different, that's going to be copied by other people, and that's where you get your home runs.
Yeah.
And I've shared some stuff with you that we're not going to share here, but I've got some home runs that are very hard to copy.
Yeah. You
And there's
showed me
some
that
reasons.
one.
There's some reasons behind that I'm not going to share here.
Yeah. No, you
Th-
showed me that
those are
one. That was
those are
really
some of
cool.
the things people have to learn when they're evaluating what sells and what doesn't. Number one for me, I'm a little different than some in that I design stuff that I enjoy. Right?
Hmm.
If I want to go search something out, I end up buying books on my shelf about it. I end up buying art books. I end up joining groups, and I actually participate because I really want to learn about it.
Sure.
It's not just to throw everything out there and go. I know in the early days, I was misconstrued in some things that I said. I said, hey, you got to throw the spaghetti against the wall, right? You're not going to sell unless you throw it against the wall and see what sells. And people are like, I'm throwing all the spaghetti I got against the wall, nothing's selling. Yeah, well, you got to cook it first. Dry
Absolutely.
spaghetti's not going to stick. And then, well, I'm cooking this all. I got all good designs. I got good VAs, and I'm throwing it all, and I'm still not getting any sales. Yeah, well, you're also not varying the kind of pasta you have,
Hmm.
right? You're not serving something up to the customer actually wants to buy. And this is a problem I see with what I call the Teespring design. I mean, the early days of Teespring in 13, 14, 15, there was this flowery, crazy worded design with lots of words and lots of phrases, and they all look the same. I
Hmm.
mean, who wants that shirt 10,000 times over? And
Right. Right.
if you target it with Facebook ads to a specific crowd or a specific group that you've made, yeah, you get sales on them. But just to throw all that stuff up on merch and think that you're going to get sales, that's where you get the people that are at tier 10,000 and say, I'm selling a third of what I was at tier 2,000 with tier 10,000.
All right, Ken. You know what? That you're getting a little personal there, buddy. Okay.
Well, but I don't
No,
cut
I'm
corners.
kidding. I'm kidding.
I know, but I razz you about this, and this is something I see. This is where I call it scaling gone bad. Everybody talks about scaling out, scaling, and how do I scale my tier and scale my account? And they've totally missed the basis.
Hmm.
It's an absolute, hate to say it, shit show that I see on a lot of people's accounts.
No, I agree. I agree. My whole thing was from the beginning was quality, and I'm going to continue doing that. But definitely, and it's gotten easier.
We'll take a deeper look maybe in the next couple of. Let's
Yeah,
get past Q4 and let's start looking at your account as an example, because I know typography, design, what should sell, but let's get you focused on getting that stuff selling.
yeah. No, exactly.
And
I was just going to say
because the
I need to
opportunity is
spend
there,
more.
it's not
Hmm.
gone.
Yeah, I need to
People that
spend a
think
lot more time.
saturate, sorry about that. People that think saturation is killing off merch right now. I don't know. Go ask Tara Flake if saturation is killing her sales.
Oh man, she's awesome, isn't she?
Right?
She's awesome.
Go ask Joseph if saturation is
I
killing
don't
his
want to talk
sales.
about Joseph. He's pissing me off right now.
I'm just saying, like, I merch is not dead. I mean,
Exactly. No, I got to get Joseph on the show too, because I remember I met him a couple of years ago in Denver, and he was just starting his journey, and he would
I
ask me questions, and now here he is, he's doing 3-4 times more than what I'm doing. I'm like,
yeah.
good God. So yeah, no, Joseph
Start
is.
collaborating. I mean, I can remember driving home from picking up some T-shirts
Mhm.
from a screen printer here in Vegas. I think I threw up one of those, hey, I'm driving in the car. Here's my phone number. First one to call me gets to chat, right? It was Joseph, right? I think we chatted for a good half hour, 45 minutes. That
Sounds
was
like Joseph.
way in the early days when he was, I don't know, probably selling 3 or 4, a couple of shirts here and there. And it was
Yeah,
a great chat just to set him on the
no,
right
great guy
roads.
for sure. Um, so Amazon, every year we know that they're going to release new products because they do it every year. You don't have to tell us, but can you maybe hint at what they might release in 2020?
There's some stuff I know that's being piloted right now.
Okay,
I honestly can't speak to it.
that's fine.
There's
That's fine.
there's levels of confidence that if people tell, I know, I can't say this. There's new markets coming and there's new products coming. The markets are pretty cool. Some people have figured some of it out. I mean, it's public knowledge that they're hiring people for Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's,
Konnichiwa, arigato.
yeah, I mean, come on, they're 130 million population in a little tiny island, and their concept of t-shirts will blow our minds. For
Yeah,
what,
actually,
I mean, their culture is just nothing against them. Their culture is totally different than ours on this kind of stuff.
yeah, actually,
Um,
a lot of the stuff that sells right now for us are the whole kawaii
mhm.
inspired
And a
designs,
lot
right?
of legal stuff you can do there, and they just eat that stuff up.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's new markets coming. That's not the only country that's coming. There's changes to the dashboard coming. There's new products coming. Salt Lake City is online.
Mm-hmm.
That ties into, we're trying to nail down the venue right now that'll be close to the airport, because the print facility is just a few minutes south of the Salt Lake International Airport.
Nice.
We're looking for the end of April to hold a conference there, which it's not sold on the basis of Amazon being there or Amazon having any part, but yeah, I've got some discussion with Amazon on, maybe what we could do, if there could be some roundtables or something. But
Sure.
it's an opportunity. You can always book tours and things like that with different fulfillment centers, but
Right.
it
No,
makes sense.
and I always said, look, whenever you have an opportunity to, because I've been to all, because we've had two Merch by Amazon conferences now. I've been to, both. And any conference or conventions or workshops that you can attend in person, I always say, man, go do it, because networking is probably the most value you're gonna get in any business, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's Merch by Amazon or FBA or eBay, because whenever you can bump heads with other people in the community, man, it's a lot of fun, and plus you learn a lot.
Yeah. And this year, I think the focus is more on the networking side of things, right? Like
Hmm.
roundtables, breakout sessions, more of hands-on, like let's discuss why stuff isn't selling on the platform. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. I want to pull it away from, last year got a little heavy on the, hey, I'm selling a course, I'm good at this, buy my course at the end of the session, and everybody seemed to have a sales pitch. And
Hmm.
nothing against that. It's just that's the way it evolved, and it got a little big. The first year was just explosive because it was like, wow, all these merchants are getting together, and there was so much excitement. So let's take it to a maturity level, I think, in Salt Lake in April, and back off a little. And we don't need people selling a course here or there. Like, we'll get some sponsors, but let's focus on us as a people, as a community, and the people that are there. Let's talk. Let's have these roundtables. Let's have these discussions. And, like we're talking about, why isn't your stuff selling? Well,
Hmm.
maybe we have a session where people are saying, why is my stuff selling? And it's not recorded. Let's throw some stuff, throw examples up on the board. The people
Yeah.
here aren't here to copy, but why can't I get sales? Well, let's really evaluate this and pull it apart,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of people there that will attend that, I will say right now, as I told you, I don't have a problem entering niches and getting sales.
Hmm.
How do you teach that?
Exactly, and that's
It's like,
something
how
that,
do you
yeah,
teach walking through the floor doing licensing without being shown, right?
exactly, and again, and that's why we went to the DesignerCon, because again, those are things that I wanted to learn, and I had reached out to Ken. I was like, hey Ken, I'm going to DesignerCon. If you're interested, let me know, and that's how it works.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm looking. Is it going to be capped at all?
I think we're looking at probably a little smaller number, probably 75 to 100.
Wow, so this is going to be a little more intimate, huh?
Yeah, I want it to be more intimate. The cost is going to be cheaper. Seattle is just expensive as all hell to put
Hmm.
together. I mean, the venue alone was, I think, $6,000-7,000 a day.
Wow,
I mean,
nice venue.
they wanted $3,000 for the Wi-Fi. I mean,
Oh my
but you're
gosh.
downtown Seattle. We were competing. You saw us. You couldn't get hotel rooms at that hotel because Amazon had them all booked for a conference across the hallway from us. Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I stayed there, and yikes. I mean, I think it was $1,600 for 4 nights.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Uh,
Yeah. No, that was a
yeah.
nice venue, but absolutely, man. So I'm looking
So
forward
Salt
to.
Lake's going to be cheaper. Salt Lake's going to be more central. So let's get a cheaper venue that we don't need the kind of numbers to pay for the venue, because this wasn't conference wasn't a moneymaker type of thing for me and Chris. It was,
Mm-hmm.
let's make sure we don't lose money. And
Sure.
Salt Lake, let's just vary the cost based on what the venue is, what we bring in. Maybe we can bring in a meal or something. I don't know. I mean, a lot of things being thrown around on it, but it'll be easier for people to fly in. Hotels will be cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
The venue is better than Dallas. Dallas was just an absolute pain to try and arrange because the print facility is so far away.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And if you do want a possible Amazon speaker, you need to put it in a situation where it fits into their schedule. So as funny as that sounds, if you put a conference at the Seattle airport, you wouldn't get merch people there because they have to travel across the city. If you put it
Sure.
downtown where they can walk 2 blocks, they can jump off and come speak to you. If you put it in Dallas, but not next to the print facility, they're not going to come. Salt Lake's a couple of minutes south of the airport where the print facility is. So you can imagine we're going to put it somewhere close so they can say, hey, we're going to the print facility for the day and we're going to stop off for an hour and talk to some content creators.
Yeah.
And that's just the way
Makes
it
total
works.
sense. Makes total sense. Just a couple of more questions for you, Ken.
Yeah.
2020 is coming up, man. Any goals for you?
Goals for me?
Yeah.
Be happy.
Yeah?
Be happy.
I'm your son. How much happier can you be?
I honestly, I think 2020 would be the year that I actually do get onto Etsy.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I said it for 2 years and I still haven't put the stuff because I've just been busy with other content, but
Sure.
got a lot of cool stuff lined up for KDP that's not going to compete with all of the masses. Some pretty easy sales, and part of that is licensing. Just the focus is there. I'm still not in a position where I want to go hire VAs or blow this up because I have fun what I'm doing, and this is like the ultimate full-time job hobby.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and my listeners know how I feel about VAs. I mean, I do hire a couple of designers and stuff, but they're all local from the university.
Mm-hmm.
They're not from the Philippines or Thailand or anything like that. So yeah, so my personal goals, man, I got some projects that I'm working on. I think I told you about one of them. One of them is actually, and I don't mind talking about it now, is I want to do a live or at least a video course for the typography ebook. That's
That'd
something
be
that
good.
that's something that I had brought up to you when we were in Anaheim, because it's funny how I'm in all the groups and the forums, and it's always the same conversation, right? Which is, kind of like what I was saying earlier, right? How come I'm not getting any sales, or how do you do marketing? But no one ever talks about the foundation of the Merch by Amazon business, which is your design, right?
Yeah.
So I've thought
The
about
actual evaluating the design and what's good and bad about it.
right,
I mean,
and
there's a seller that I've been watching that tries very hard and puts a lot of effort into what's going on. And I've seen some listings that they've posted, and I'm like, no, that font doesn't go with that niche. That design doesn't go with 2010. It goes for 19 somewhere in the 80s or 90s, but not even a good
more of a
80s or
retro look,
90s.
yeah.
You're missing the boat on so many things. All you got to do is take one look and say, all the work you've been doing is just kind of misguided.
Yeah.
And that's something else that I don't want to really harp on, but we've talked about this, is take a look at what you are reading and buying and watching, and look at the results that are actually coming from some people. Because I think we're hitting a saturation point. We talked about this saturation of content within the community. Everybody has some kind of way and some kind of pitch. And I think people are getting a little exhausted on the pitch.
Yeah, I think, well, and the thing is, but I mean, and then I can argue, well, it comes with the territory, but you're right. I mean, people are getting fed up with other content out there that they're pitching. But yeah, I mean,
you talk about goals for 2020. I think 2020 will be a great divide in content creators. I think you're going to see a lot of content creators give up.
Oh, okay. But yeah,
but
so that's something.
But with those ones giving up, I think you're going to see a whole new batch coming in. I
Okay.
think we're getting to a crux right now where you're starting to see some artists that a year or two ago were saying, I put my stuff up and I don't get any sales, and it's all this crappy merch stuff, this Walmart type sale stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
yeah.
starting to see people, and I think a great example would be like an Anna Herzog. I mean, she
Hmm.
was posting that she was, yeah, I up all my stuff to $29.99. I'm making sales. I'm not setting anything less than like $12 of royalty. You know what? I think we're going to see more of those kinds of people. We're going to see people at the DesignerCon, some of those kinds of artists that actually learn how to sell it or
Hmm.
tie into people that know how to sell it and getting stuff up. It's going to be the year of building out stores and building out brands and standing out more like Elite does, right? Like, everybody knows the brand name. You're going to see more of that kind of so where people are failing and are grasping straws to try and find it. They've been going at this for a year and a half or 2 years, and they're grasping at anything they can to try and get sales. I think you're going to see a lot of them will just kind of fade away and disappear, and that's just business. But you're going to see a new crowd of competitive cream rise to the top and start coming into the platform. And you're seeing it with the content right now on the platform. Good stuff is selling.
Yeah,
Right now,
yeah.
how do you peel off the good from the bad? And the other question is, how do you peel off all the infringement, the copycat stuff, and the big brand IP infringement? Which merch is, I mean, that it's not an easy scenario, but it's something that's being worked on. So I think 2020 is that year of that kind of a divide that'll come.
Okay, good. But yeah, so the topography workshop, that's something that I've been thinking
Do it.
about doing. Okay, well, if Dad says do it, I would definitely have to do it. And then just one last question. I know you had mentioned a possible final meetup in Las Vegas. Is that going to happen?
Final meetup? What do you mean?
I remember you had posted something on your
Yeah,
Facebook page.
it's third tomorrow.
Okay, well there you go. So
Are
this
you
episode is
coming?
gonna, if I would if I could.
I know.
So this episode will be out tonight. Today is what, Wednesday. So tomorrow, if you guys live in the Las Vegas area and you want to attend and meet Ken personally, um, let me
We
know.
we've been
Or
we've been doing these. I think this is probably the fifth or sixth one. We just meet at a Starbucks on
yep.
West Craig here in Vegas, and we tend to get 10 people out. And the last one we had, Michael Essick was across from the pond of the licensing expo, and he was there with Laura Bell,
Uh huh.
who used to be the content manager with Amazon. So
And I
we had
love
them
Laura, man.
over
She's
for
great.
coffee.
Uh
Yeah,
huh.
she's awesome. So yeah, if you are in the Vegas area, yeah, come on out. I was gonna bump that post here. It'd probably be the usual suspects like Dave Kadoff, who's from here, and Steve Axworthy, and
Hmm.
a few of the others that, yeah, we just sit and shoot the breeze, and they get the opportunity to find out what I've learned from merch.
And that's something, actually, I talk about 2020 goals. That's something that I should actually do a little more of, is doing more meetups here in the Bay Area. So maybe that's something that I'll start arranging. You
Just
mentioned
don't put
Dave.
a lot of effort into it. Just say, hey, we're going to meet Thursday night at 6:30 at Starbucks
Yeah,
for an hour or two and grab a coffee. And if 5-10 people show up, you don't need to register. Just show up and come for coffee, and
yeah.
do it
Buy me
every month
coffee,
or
buy
two.
me lunch, whatever you guys wanna do. You mentioned Dave. How's he doing?
He's doing good. He's doing
Okay.
good. Had him over for Canadian Thanksgiving, which was good. And
Okay.
he was on his road to recovery there. He couldn't do much for laughing or coughing, but he's doing well. He's coming around, and
Okay.
I think we're seeing him getting a little more active again in Watch Dogs. And
Send him.
that,
Send him.
that's the other 2020 thing, is we're going to get pretty vicious the next couple of months with Watch Dogs, because we're coming to the point with this LOP thing that it's a do or die. Excuse me. It's going to be ugly.
Mm.
Trying to charge $100 for an LLP.
Yeah, yeah, and that's another thing, man. And I need to put that on my list of things to do in 2020. I need to be a little bit more involved in that. I'm guilty, man. I just, to this day, I have not filed an LLP yet, so that's something that I want to do next year with you guys.
Yeah, but you
Um,
wrote a letter. There's lots of people that wrote letters. There's people that participate, ask questions. I
mhm,
mean, it's a lot of work, and I tell people, I don't expect people to do it all. Um, and some people, I think, try to do too much. We just need more people putting in a little bit.
mhm,
If we only had 500 people that only filed one letter of protest a month, it would crush the system as much as that system is totally screwed up. And I thought I'd bring that up. There's a news article likely coming out on Bloomberg News that they've interviewed me and Dave Caloff about this whole
Yeah, no,
USPTO thing and stuff.
I did
So
hear about that through the grapevines, but
yeah, it's coming. I just talked to him yesterday morning about finalizing, factual, your name is, and, make sure the details are right. And here's
mhm.
the story. So it's coming pretty soon.
Yeah, no, Dave's a good guy. Please send him my best. And for the listeners that donated, I haven't forgotten about you. So when Dave had surgery,
Mm-hmm.
I had publicly said that whoever donates, I would make some KDP interiors for them.
Yeah.
I haven't done it yet. I'm sorry, but I promise I will deliver on those. But yeah, please tell him hello for me.
Yep.
Dad, thank you so much for being here. It's always a good time.
Anytime.
Just one last question, man.
Yeah.
How about that allowance? Look.
You keep doing
I've been
things
a
that
good
get
son,
the
huh?
you keep doing things that get the allowance taken away from you. It's just it's one of those hard decisions a father has to make to a son.
I disagree, but you know what? This is a conversation that we'll continue with here in
How's your quarter
2020.
four?
It's been, what? The numbers that I'm putting up now should be what I'm making year round, but I'm not complaining. You know what?
But you seen a boost.
I've seen a boost. I'm
Good.
fortunate. I'm blessed, man. You know what? I always say I have a love-hate relationship with Merch by Amazon, but at the end of the day, man, it's so much fun. I can't stop doing it,
I
right?
know. I'm the
It,
same way. I'll do it
yeah,
because it's fun.
yeah, absolutely. And well, for you, the money's great too, right?
The money's been good.
So
Where are we at on the day? You didn't ask numbers.
I
You
don't
didn't give
want to.
numbers.
You know what? I purposely did not want to look at my numbers because I knew you were going to come on the show and make me look like a chump. What are your
That's
numbers?
okay.
I'm not going to tell you my numbers.
I don't know. Let me log in. It's nice to wake up in the morning though. I'll say that and look at it and say, oh, that's a typical day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait a minute. It's only 7:30 in the morning.
Oh gosh, here he
What are
is
we?
bragging. I haven't looked at my here. Let me see.
Come on, transparency, baby.
Okay. Well, you go first as I'm logged here. You know what?
We're at 201 on the day right now.
201.
Yeah, 806.01 for margin.
Come on, man! All that money you making, you can't give your son an allowance. That's what you call a deadbeat dad. I still love you though. All right.
Yeah, it's all good. We'll be on again. We'll do this again. This is fun.
Okay, so for me, it's been what 28 sales for $124.
Hey,
And not bad. Like I said, man, I don't
so
complain.
2020, your goal is when we do this again in
Next year.
December. You're sitting there saying, "I did that by 7:30 this morning."
Exactly. That is
Right?
my goal for 2020.
So that you have $400 and $500 days in quarter four.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. That is my goal for 2020. But again, hey, I'm just very blessed and fortunate to even be on the platform.
It's $130 you didn't have yesterday.
Exactly. Absolutely. Now I want to go down the strip there in Vegas and go check out some of those gentlemen's club.
And you just lost your allowance again.
So much fun hanging
right.
out with you, man. Thanks again, and we'll have you on next year, Ken.
Sounds good. We'll talk to you later.